Okay, it's not soda, but it is tea in a can. Does that count? It's Romania Black. And we are on episode 13 of Steins Gate 0. There's an end credit scene. I'm pretty excited, and we're going to dive into that today, so I hope you all are ready. But last episode felt like much of a setup episode. It was like our halfway through the series moment. Kagari is getting her memories back. She's recognized Mayuri as her mother. And on top of that, we've gotten the revelation. I went back and as I was editing, I don't think I talked about this in the discussion, but I noticed throughout editing that Kagari did escape a facility before she met Ocarine in the past. And then the after credit scene was them finding her again, where we assume she was taken back to whatever facility she was in until she got out this last time and was taken in, you know, from Ruka and all of that. So I'm excited to see what they end up doing with her character now that she's got her memories back, because that could lead to some interesting confrontations with Suzuka. So I don't know how they're going to handle that, but anyway, we're just going to find out, right? So I don't have any other comments because I am recording this ahead. I'm about to go on a trip next week, and as my dogs are at my feet, want me to pet them. I'm about to go on a trip next week, and so I needed to have this recorded before I left. So that's why I'm getting to it, but hopefully I'll have some comments to go through next week. So in lieu of that, I do want to give a shout out and recognize the people over in the philanthropy tier over on Patreon, because they have shown some real support over there this last month and they deserve a shout out. So thank you everybody over on Patreon for supporting my channel. If you're watching this through YouTube, you can go check out my Patreon. If you can't afford to join me on Patreon, totally understand that, but please do me a favor and like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, so that you can support the channel for free. So with that being said, I want to give a shout out to Sunspots, to Zachiel, to username123, to Jason N, to Alexandra Q, as well as Be Happy, Dana, Alex Cornejo, Violet Stardust, Biadu B, Destiny Marie, Diana Williams, Daniel Devorin, Damage3245, Eric Ichu, Fisho Ghostly, Turn Up, as well as Jessica, Colin, Jason N, Lyndon, Elfreya, Murphy, Nicholas, Poppy, James, Jack Witt, Rose Jennison, as well as Rast, Sugamom, Shimoyama, Translucent Min, Yanin, Zero Anti-Zero, Mai Chua, Her, and Chewy. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, this is not soda. I'm trying to be healthier, so it is tea. It is peach tea though, so it does have a little sweet tang to it. Which I'm trying to cut out pastry desserts. If I need a dessert, I'm going for fruit instead and trying to cut those out. So I'm like just constantly raging for sugar. But it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. So with that being said, we're not going to waste any more time. The only thing I'm curious about is, so I watched the English dub before diving into this. English dub was great. There wasn't anything really to note about it except like the stuff you already know. J. Michael Tatum is amazing. Mayuri's voice actress was amazing. They both did a great job last episode. But when I went to start this episode, the English version was like 25 minutes long, and the Japanese version was only like 23 minutes and 40 seconds. So I might check before starting the discussion why there's a difference of that much, because that's like 2 minutes. I'm like, what? So I don't know why that is, but we're just going to double check here when I'm done watching this reaction. So, and see what happens. But I hope you all are excited. I am really excited to see what's going to happen in episode 13. And so let's not waste any more time. We're going to get started with Steins Gate 0, episode 13. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1. And let's go. All right, show. Man, okay. I will admit, I think episode 12 might have been like I'm hoping it was the low point of the series, because I was like waiting for something to happen. And in this episode, I was like, okay, things are happening again. All right, that is, okay, all right. There is some mystery in this episode, and there are some theories, and there was, that end credit scene, not the end credit scene, but that ending scene leading up to Ocarine finding the room. Backrooms. The Steins Gate 0 Backrooms edition. That's literally what it felt like with Moika and Ocarine going through that facility. We have things to talk about, and we need to break some things down. And I'm not gonna lie, the opening teaser before the OP, I'm not a fan of at all. And then after the OP was over, things started to pick up, and I had things to say about it. But you all know me. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to tell you my exact thoughts, and maybe you agree with me, and maybe you disagree with me. But we need to talk about this opening scene, because you know what? Sometimes shows happen only 8 years ago. This isn't that dated, but the scenes of it, I was like, show. I think the big thing in 3, 2, 1, I think the big thing for me is, like I was talking about during the OP and the reaction, I feel like Steins Gate's best humor is either like the situational fish out of water kind of absurd humor. So like Moeka's a great source of humor because she doesn't speak, and our characters in this series, they talk a lot, especially Ocarine, who's got his like fantastical, especially in Steins Gate, he's got his like all theories and the organization and everything. And so when he's confronted with some actual absurdity, like Moeka's text to talk situation, then it kind of is played for a laugh, and it works really fun. Or like in this episode, Moeka was hilarious, not only for the texting and the room situation and the driving, but she was just a really great source because she's so deadpan. It works really well. And the other source of humor is like the romantic situational humor. Like last episode, the stuff with them crashing Daru and Yuki's date, that was funny. That worked really well. And in Steins Gate, Ocarine was like, it was so funny because him and Kurisu were so awkward around each other, but like Okarine's lack of experience and Kurisu knowing more than she's letting on, it worked really well. The problem is that Kurisu's not in this series, so we can't have those moments. We could have them with Maho if the series would allow for it, and the series tried to with Amadeus and Maho have those humorous moments, and they were really good, but now Amadeus is gone. Maho is gone, so what can we do to fill in the gaps? And I think some of the show's choices, and again, maybe they're taking this from the light novel, and if that's the case, some of the light novel's choices of how to insert humor, they just come across as odd choices, and I don't find them funny. And so, and at best, they're not funny. At worst, they're highly inappropriate and cringy and like really offensive. So I'm like, it's kind of like when I never found them poking at Ruka's like gender and all that, and like the sexual harassment that Ruka got in the first season. I never found that funny. I was like, no, let's not do that. And here, the humor type, let's just go through it and talk about it. Ruka is just kind of like, hey, so Kagari got her memories back. Can we talk about this? Because I feel uncomfortable here. And one thing is, and Ocarine feels uncomfortable. Daru, we hope, feels uncomfortable. I guess my thing is, Kagari is supposed to be 22 at the time. And I understand somebody in the comments is going to like push up their glasses and go, well, it's because she just got her memories back and she's 6 years old in memories. Don't care. Nah. She can have her memories back from when she was 6, but they kind of infantilize her a little bit in this opening scene, and I don't like it. I'm like, nope. If you know anything about like women in anime, women in media, and infantilizing them and like the lolly effect, nope, not here for it. I just cannot. And the worst part of it is that they do the whole like, her calling her mommy, and Daru's like, yeah, call her mommy. And I'm like, you need to shut up, sir. And then the banana thing, like that was taking it one step too far. I was like, I don't want to see Kagari feeding her a banana that is a phallic symbol. And the idea of feeding a banana to a woman that you're infantilizing as a 6-year-old is 8 kinds of wrong. And then if you push it the other way, like with Mayuri, it's still wrong. I'm just like, no. So I want to get that out of the way now. That's done. That's over. We don't have to think about that ever again. But I just don't, when it tries to use like sexual humor in the show, it falls so flat for me. And I'm like, no, I feel as uncomfortable as the characters. Like it's very uncomfortable to watch. But anyway, so we're past it. I feel like Suzuha. I'm just like, bye, deuces, I'm out. So yeah, we're past that now. We're through that. We're through the woods. We don't need to talk about that anymore. And then we're going to get through the intro here too. Although the intro, the AD was so good with the animation. So yeah. I hadn't thought about this, but the Oopa that she got as a kid, she said was retro, which in hindsight, getting the phone case, that means the Oopa is around now. So it's not retro because it's new now. It's going to be retro in the future. So I thought that was a nice little twist of getting the phone case and everything. So yeah, and I think we need to give Mayuri a shout out because Mayuri takes it on the chin. Mayuri now knows, I mean, Mayuri has known about Daru and Suzuha and Yuki and like being from the future. Kagari knows about it as well. But Mayuri just, she's like, you know, I don't have a kid yet. But she accepts it and takes everything on the chin. And I don't think Ocarine realizes that she's had lots of training with accepting weird things in this series because she's been around Ocarine. Like the start of this series, he was telling her like about secret organizations and all this stuff they were planning, and she was just like, okay. Like, did she think it was real or not or fully understand it? Probably not, but she was accepting of it because she was like, well, if Ocarine's talking about it, it's probably true. So she's kind of doing that here as well, where he's telling Mayuri about Kagari, and she's just like, okay, I'm going to accept it. Mayuri is a saint. She is possibly the most saintly character in anime. She's so kind. She's so accommodating. Whenever Kagari's like, call me Kagari-chan, she immediately does it. Like, she's respectful. She's on it. I freaking love Mayuri. She's like so really kind. And the crazy thing is now, I don't think Mayuri's going to die because this is a different world line. But one thing that I do worry about is in this world line, so we have the World War III world line, which is the one we are currently in now. And let's just do the OG World War III time world line. So in that world line, we had at some point, what was it? It was been 10 years before that they end up leaving. So at 6 years old, Kagari shows up and Mayuri finds her. And then she adopts her after this quote-unquote treatment that took place. And then 4 years later is when she goes with Suzuha, and they travel back to the, we're going to put it here. She travels with Suzuha. And the thing was, in this world line, she travels with Suzuha, and at first they go back to 1975 because they needed the IBM machine to fix the Y2K situation. And then they traveled to 1998 to handle, get this on here. I'm going to erase this. To handle the Y2K, which is interesting. They went there 2 years before Y2K. But I get that you had to set things up so the nonlinear history, everything lines up, the dominoes all fall. And during this time, Kagari is lost at 10. Now, at some point, she is picked up by this big old question mark. And then at one point, she escapes and then is found again and remains there until 2010, where she escapes and Ruka finds her. Or Ruka's parents or the monk or what. The monk found her and then took him to Ruka, and then that's how we got this going on. So I'm just going to simplify it and say Ruka finds her, but y'all know I mean the monk and all the steps that led to this. And then that's where we are in the current timeline. Okay. I guess my point from here is how, and now she is lost again. She's like freaking Princess Toadstool. Where is she at? Who took her this time? My big question was, like, at what point, because we don't know what's going to become of her, and we don't know where she's going to go, at what point did she, like, are these two versions of her going to crisscross? How does that work? Because, like, we're going to talk about this. What's going to happen with her? And will she ever come across? Because she shouldn't be able to come across her 6-year-old self, right? And if she does, how does that happen? Are they going to think it's her mom? Will the Kagari in this timeline die? But this one will be we're going to ask questions and we're going to theorize about that. But I was like, how are they going to meet and will that ever happen? And thus, I mean, I guess it wouldn't matter because the Mayuri from this world line would immediately take Kagari in thinking that it's the Kagari from the past. So I don't think there would be any question with that. But it is begging the question of what we do with that, right? So, okay. I wanted to look up what recitativo means. Recitativo seems like a musical term. It is. Hey, I was like, anytime it sounded a little bit like it would be in that. Recitative is an Italian. I was like, it sounded Italian. It is an Italian name. Recitativo is a style of delivery used in operas or cantatas in which a singer is allowed to adopt the rhythms and delivery of ordinary speech. It does not repeat lines as formally composed songs do. It resembles sung ordinary speech more than formal music composition, like I'm singing this song, like that. So it can be distinguished on a continuum from more speech-like to more musically sung with more sustained melodic lines. So it can be used dry with a cello or harpsichord, or a compagnato using an orchestra or an ensemble. Interesting. It can be used in Gregorian chants, gospels, lots of things. Okay. Let me see. Is there anything about Mozart? It is! Yes, in the Baroque era. If it's not Baroque, don't fix it. Recitatives were commonly rehearsed on their own by a stage director, the singers frequently supplying their own favorite baggage, arias, which might be by a different composer. Some of Mozart's so-called concert arias fall into this category. This division of labor is persisted into the 19th century. That's what I'm talking about. I want a title that has some history to it and some extra meaning. Yes, we're so back, Steins Gate. Thank you very much. Yes, okay. Interesting indeed. All right, and so there we go. And you can it talks more about like the rest of the uses, things like that. Absolutely wonderful. Beethoven used this in the Piano Sonata number 17 and Piano Sonata number 31 and the Ninth Symphony finale. Okay, nice. Look at this. How about that? Okay, so we've got that connection. All right, the diffractive recitativo, the diffraction of Mother Goose. And as we talked about, diffractive, we talked about that a few weeks ago. Diffractive it means to a wave of light causing it to bend out and interfere around obstacles or through narrow passages. Yeah, so, okay, like diffraction of light. Nice, okay, yay, we're getting some meaning here. Cool. So, yeah, anyway, so Mayuri has taken in Kagari for the second time. Meanwhile, Ocarine and Daru are trying to figure out what to do. And they're like, your personality sure has changed and you're really cheerful. And she's like, yeah, which I would imagine Kagari would be cheerful, you know, one, getting some of her memories back, but also their happy memories and their memories of her with the person she really cares about. So that's great. But yeah, she's so innocent. So anyway, she's like, I've got to go to work. And that's when Daru and Ocarine are questioning, like, you know, she was around 6 years old when she became Mayuri's daughter, and then she was 10 in 2036. So, okay, so if she was 10 in 2036, then she was born again in 2026 is when Kagari, which is like crazy because that's like this year. Kagari is supposed to be born this year, which is crazy. Also, that is, if we're looking at 2011, that is technically the year she was born is around 15 years after the whole issue of Steins Gate, which is around the time the video was sent to the OG Ocarine. I wonder if that will happen by the end of this series, that OG Ocarine will get that video sent to him around the time Kagari is supposed to show up. I wonder. That would be rather intriguing. Indeed. So, the thing is, we go through the timeline that I talked to you all about, that 12 years is a void, which my problem that I'm worried about is like, what have they done with her in those 12 years? Because like, that's okay. So let's talk about the Amadeus system, because Amadeus, what they describe her as is a system sample. I don't like that at all. Not one bit. And that was from the past. So she was at least a system sample between 2026 and 20, would that have been 32? Was around that time. But that makes it a little bit scarier, because this is not, okay, so in this part here, we know that she pulled a gun on Suzuha, which is not how she remembers it, which might be for the better in some regards, but also is like, well, why does she remember things differently than what actually happened? So we have no information to go off of. Moeka deserves MVP award this week. Can we give Moeka the MVP award? Because she pulled her weight and was getting stuff done. And I was like, okay, Moeka, let's go. If only there was a hint or something we could look into. Well, I appreciate Suzuha's character quite a bit. I think that one of the things about Suzuha's character that is intriguing is that despite her being from the future, she's still a kid. She's still a teenager. So she is kind of hot-headed and headstrong, and she says some things that she shouldn't say in this, and she gets a response from a 22-year-old Kagari, which is intriguing. Because she's like, Kagari's just trying to connect with Suzuha, and Suzuha's like, no, I'm good. Like, she is a little bit hateful there. And Suzuha's like, are you mad at me? Is something wrong? She's like, well, you're saying stuff with a scary face. And she's like, well, I'm born with this face. And then Kagari imitates her later on. She's like, I have a mission to do. And she's like, well, you ate all that curry. She's like, well, that was different. She's like, I was born with this face. And she's like, I don't care if you play with your mommy, but keep me out of it. Now, I think they should have really stopped and communicated at this point, but then we wouldn't have a show. Because when she said you've had all the time in the world to play with your mom and dad in this era, and Suzuha's like, you don't know what I'm doing and dealing with. She's like, I know things are about to go to shit, and you all have no idea. She's like, I'm trying to make sure I exist in the future. I think that's important to point out, because even though Kagari calls her out, which is in some ways valid, I'm like, Suzuha's like, I'm making sure I exist. So what are you doing? That was, that was brutal. She's like, you've been with Daru and Yuki for half a year already. Why am I not allowed to be with my mom? And she's like, do you know how hard it has been for me? I've spent a precious amount of fuel just searching for you. And then you finally appear but conveniently forget everything. I do think that is relevant for her. I mean, they're both valid in their thoughts in this moment. And she's like, I didn't forget because I didn't want to. And then she says it's Suzuha's fault for abandoning her. She's like, if you hadn't ran off, I wouldn't have been left alone. And that's when Suzuha is like, wait a minute. She's like, what did you say? She's like, when we were walking that day, you disappeared. And she's like, oh no, that did not happen. And of all times for Braun to show up, I'm like, I need you to leave. Because we were about to get somewhere. Something was about to happen. One thing that I wish would happen in this series that I would absolutely be doing in real life is if, by God, if I was Suzuha and this conversation had happened, I would be like, as soon as work is over, we're coming back to this, because what did you just say? And then it doesn't happen. And I'm like, but what can we do? I hate it. So yeah, for a second, I thought this was going to be a representation of the episode, because for a hot second, it seemed like everybody was just sitting on their hands, not doing anything. And I was like, is this going to be an accurate representation of the series right now, where we're just at a standstill, not knowing what to do? But then we get some news from Moeka. We get some headway, and I'm really happy that we got that. I'm also happy that Mayuri is like, hey, why are you feeling so down? Well, I don't like seeing people down. Like, you and Suzuha should make up. So, And before Moeka comes in with her clutch discoveries, Ocarine goes and asks Braun for some ideas, which, I mean, we all suspected it's brainwashing. They've altered her memories. They've made her forget things, probably to keep her locked up where she can't do things. So it felt like, brainwashing was going to be the obvious conclusion. But yeah, Braun runs through the list of everything with them that they could have used as drugs or put in artificial memories. It seems like they put in artificial memories, and I would not be surprised if they put some drugs in her as well. The question is, why? Why are we doing that? So I want to go back to this sign. This sign saying from July, the summer concert classic, says fun for all ages with Mozart. Show you trolling. Show you playing. Like, why? I don't feel like these are like intentionally happening. I feel like these are hot coincidences. Never before has Mozart been so popular as he was the summer of 2011. Never before. Because we had, that wasn't even summer of 2011. We had the flashback last episode where she heard the commercial and they were using Mozart. And then here they're playing Mozart for like the summer classic concert series, which I don't blame. I don't blame them. Classical music gets used a lot because there's no copyright to it. So it's easy peasy. So I get it. But damn, of all the coincidences, this is the humor that I like. This is the humor that works for me. The gag that it's not gotten any better. Although, if you notice in this scene, instead of there being like coffee cans and energy drinks everywhere, which is what Maho was drinking, now we're down to apple juices and water. So Moeka is drinking a lot healthier than Maho, and Maho needs to lay off the energy drinks. But I just love that she's still there. That Kiryu never left. She was like, why would I leave? This is all set up for me. Why would I go? Like, that's so funny to me. That got me. I was like, okay, yes, Kiryu, humorous MVP. Absolutely love it. And she finds this place that looks within 5 ranges of where Kagarishina collapsed. Just one place. And she says, a building not on records that shouldn't be there. And then it was like the shot of her being like, ta-da, congrats. And this damn Spanx, love it. Love it. That's funny. I'm all about that. So she's like, let's go for it. Also, what is on his phone? Like, his phone line with her? Is that a Meryl? Or is that the Upa? I think that's the Upa. Anyway, so then we go back here with Suzuha, and I'm like, are the gloves ones that were given to her by her mom? Is that right? Is that correct? She's like, I couldn't forget a whole mission. She's like, if I could forget the whole mission, living freely spoiled by everyone. There is a disconnect there because on the one hand, I immediately thought back to Steins Gate where Suzuha does end up stuck in the past. She does forget everything about her mission, but then when she does get those memories back, it's not good and she takes her own life. That's not good. So I would not be wishing that upon Kagari, especially after what we see at the end of this episode. But then on top of it, it's like, she's not really been spoiled by everyone until now. Like, those 12 years of her here without her memories is probably for a reason, and probably a good thing she doesn't have those memories. Like, we probably don't want that. We don't want her to get those memories back, because I don't think they're going to be pleasant. I don't know why Daru does the Casablanca, here's looking at you, kid, joke. She's like, baka. Aptly appropriate. Daru, just don't make jokes. If you regret what you said, just apologize to her. And again, this is like her being a kid. She's like, well, I'm not good at that sort of thing. It's the timing. I'm like, no, just go do it. Any older person's like, you're not getting any younger. Just go make it work. Like, live the Tim Gunn philosophy and make it work. And I felt bad because then, you can see her sitting there at Ruka's. Like, she wants somebody to talk to her. And I feel for Kagari because I feel for Kagari because the last several episodes, she's just kind of felt like this MacGuffin that is just standing there like a shell of herself. Now we kind of figure out why she's a shell of herself, and she's starting to get a personality back, which, even though I'm not a big fan of it being kind of infantilized like it has been, I'm like, I get it. She just has her kid memories, and the rest of it's all kind of like a wash. But I'm still glad she at least has more of a personality now than she's just been there the last several episodes. Also, this series will give me permanent trauma about parties. You party in Steins Gate. No, bad things always happen at parties. The moment they suggested a party, I was like, something bad is going to happen. The last times we've had parties, there have been the mystery group show up and Braun had to save them all. There's been Moeka showing up and shooting Mayuri. Just no, parties don't end well. No, and third time's not going to be a charm. Nah. Instead, it gets called off. Like, none of this is good. It was also bringing me flashbacks of Suzuha in the rain in season 1 when she left. That all was coming into play. Nope. Not having any of this. She's like, well, I think Kagari would like a party. I think that'd go over really nice. She's like, I really enjoy doing parties. It's my specialty. Honestly, Mayuri should just be a wedding planner or an event planner. She would be great at that. I think she should do that as a job. If the May Queen doesn't work out or Feyre sells it in the end, go into event planning, Mayuri. I think you'll have it. So, also Moeka, MVP, also most relatable person in the series where she's like, we can leave tomorrow morning. The long drive is going to be a pain. Girl, I feel you. I am not a long drive driver. I feel like there's a sweet spot. You either have to be 2 hours or less or like more than 8 hours. Like, then no, there's no in between. It either has to be a long ass drive that you have to like, it has a meaning. You're like, it is a long ass quest to get there, or it needs to be a 2 hour or less juncture. Anything in between 3 hours and 6 hours is annoying. It's like, no, just get there already. That's so funny. Yeah, and then when the damn truck went by the second time and played it again, I was like, okay, third time's a charm. What are you going to do the third time we see this damn truck? As if to say, like, I hope you get it. Hope you're thinking about it. But also, Mayuri is a saint. She's very easy to read, and Kagari reads instantly what's going on. But she tries to get Kagari to work things out with Suzuha, being like, hey, you should go to the party. You should come. Don't show up too early. Like, get there and be there and it's going to be all right. If that girl hadn't gone out for the damn desserts, we could have avoided everything. But Kagari is so sweet, too. She's like, Suzuha's been through a lot, too. I'm going to be nice and be the better person and show up. We can talk it out and things will be fine. Why can't we have nice things, show? Why can't we have nice things? So, yeah, meanwhile, this was amazing. So, okay, so that said, it was, what was the thing? Kisarazu, Kaneda? I want to know how far it exactly was. So we're going to go to the maps here and look up. So Akihabara is our location. So we're just going to say Akihabara Station. We're going to start there. And then we're going to say Kisarazu, Kaneda. Kisarazu, Kaneda. The bus, let's just say the bus terminal. Let's just say that. How long is that? Okay, that's 48 minutes. That's not terrible. It is across the way. It's about an hour drive. That's not too awful. Surely not. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong map, but I do love that and you can tell that that's where they're going because on the map, it was over a bridge over water. So yeah, so they're already, an hour's not bad. That's not too bad. I wanted to say something about Pride with the rainbow like gear that they had gotten, and there we have our like lovely Yuri representation. Daru would call it out if we had it, but I love all the decorations. Super cute. And yeah, and Daru, I love Daru being like, no more shopping, I beg you. No, make him shop. Make him shop till he drops. He deserves it. And I am glad that Nai has whipped him into shape. Good. No more wisecracks from you, Mr. Smiley Bear. So yeah, and then again, she's like, mountain days are short. We got to get there. Moeka is my hero. Ocarine freaking out at her driving. She's like, I don't like being out when it's dark. Dark is dangerous. They still end out after dark. And her just Tokyo drifting it. Love it. Will you please drive safe? Can you please try to drive safe? And she's like, yes, it's safer if we get there faster. And he's like, no, that's not how it works. I love it. So yeah. I do feel kind of bad for Kagari because she is by herself. She knew it was a party. In hindsight, I would have left Ruka there, but hindsight's 2020. But she decides that she's going to go get something to eat. Takes off towards it with her little Upa. Meanwhile, they find this facility. I love that Moeka Moika in her damn heels gets across this damn fallen tree. Do you know what that takes to do that in heels? Do you have any idea? Like, girl's a legend. Love her. I love that he crawls under because he's like, hell no. No. But they managed to get to the facility. Now, they trashed it to make it look abandoned, but it has been in use for a while. I feel so bad. Like, did she get the strawberry cheesecake? Also, can we talk about this shot? This shot is pretty badass of Moika and Ocarine. That's a pretty badass shot. I love that. It was in use until recently. It's all a guise. So, this facility has been in use for a while until around 2010 when they left, between 6 months and a year. Conveniently, that was around the time that not only did Kagari escape, but also around the time that the whole time machine pamphlet from Kurisu made it to Russia. So the timing of it is very eerie indeed. No, so if they left and aren't using it, then where did she go? And if they kidnap her, where would they take her? Because if they're not using this facility more, then where's she going to go if they're not using the facility? So yeah, she had 15 minutes. And she's like, here I go. And she was just walking back, thinking if Suzuha was going to like it. And then she heard that damn Mozart. And it was like triggering a sleeper cell. Now, of course, here's the problem. Is like the Mozart. Who do we tie Mozart to? We tie it to Amadeus. We also tie it to Maho. Do I think Maho has had anything to do with Kagari? No, because Maho would not be a good liar, and I don't think that she knows anything about this. But, you know who I do think is tied to all this? That damn professor. I think he's tied to this. I think that the professor is tied to it. And I think the professor was tied to, back in 2026, to Professor. Although that was only 15 years from now. If he aged that much in 15 years, damn, the genetics were not as strong as I had hoped. So yeah, the professor could have been tied to this. So then the question remains, is the professor tied to the facility now? Because it seemed like he wasn't. But has he been working behind the scenes with is our good Judy, is she tied to the facility and thus with him? And they're all tied together trying to get Kagari and all that back? And Maho is just a pawn and knows nothing about it? They're just using her because she was friends with Kurisu? And they're using Kurisu? These are questions that the show is not ready yet to answer us. So yeah, then the doctor's like, here, come with me. The moment I saw that smile, I was like, oh my God, it's the professor. The moment I saw him. But they're like, what are you saying, doctor? He's like, oh, well, she needs some more treatment. She's healed, but it's in order to completely cure the PTSD brought on by the war. And she's like, it makes my head hurt. No. I'm like, are they trying to, when she talks about her head hurting, are they trying to implant Amadeus into her? If they are, why? Why would you want to put Amadeus in a person? A person ages and then dies. Amadeus, if it's a technology, keep it in a technology. Why would you want to put it in a person? That doesn't make sense. Why would you want to do that? And Mayuri, of course, thinks that they're doing something okay, and so sends her off. Yeah, there he is. I'm like, the moment he looks towards her, okay, so this says, oh my God. Yeah, those green eyes, I'm like, that's the mother trucking man himself. That's the professor. He did not age well. Those 15 years were not kind to him. But yeah, it says Amadeus Amadeus system K6205. Okay. I wanted to see what else was on that chart, because it doesn't really give us any, like, it shows her picture. Yeah, it says Sheena Kagari. What does that mean? What does that mean? So, how many system samples do they have? Are they all clones of Kurisu? Are they trying to put Amadeus into a person to have the person fill in the sequences that the AI can't figure out? So, in other words, like, because right now with Amadeus, all Amadeus can do is function off of Kurisu's memories up to a certain point. And then after that, they can't do anything else with them. Like, she only Amadeus is functioning off a specific set of memories. And it's been established that if Amadeus is allowed to talk with Ocarine more, there's a chance that she could figure out the whole, like, time leap machine and stuff like that. But Ocarine is not talking to her right now. So, in the future, if Ocarine gets involved in the resistance and stuff, he may decide he's not going to talk to her anymore. So, around that time when that's happening, maybe they're deciding that if we implant Amadeus into a person, then the person will finish the thoughts that Amadeus could not and come to the time leap machine. It would be the only thing that would make that more sustainable is the idea that Kagari is a clone of Kurisu. That she was a clone of Kurisu, and they're trying to implant the memories into her because thinking that, oh, well, since you're from Kurisu's DNA, you'll figure it out because you have her, like, DNA, you have her intellect, whatever. I don't know. I mean, that would explain why she looks so much like her, but isn't like her because she doesn't have her experiences, obviously. And to be fair, cloning is not a guarantee that that person is going to be exactly like that. And I know that because I don't know if y'all are aware of it, but there's like cattle have been cloned for like the last 26 years in the United States, like since the 2000s, the early 2000s. Cattle have been cloned for like 2 decades. It's common practice now. I've gotten kind of into the rabbit hole of researching it, but yeah, there are genetic facilities all across the US. If you have like an ear or a tail from a cow, you can clone that animal. You can. It's costly, but if you got the money, you can do it. And it's very commonplace. Like, there are some bulls, because my family raises cattle, there are some bulls that's on like their 6th clone. Like, they've just cloned that same bull over and over again because they want to try to like do lightning in a bottle, capture the same genetics. The thing is, the clones are never the same as the one before it. They're always a little different. You can't perfectly clone something. It's going to be a little off or a little different every single time. So in this case, that would make sense with Kagari. But then she says this, she's like, I hear it. She's like, the voice of God. So she talks about hearing, quote unquote, the voice of God. Now, what would be really interesting is if the voice she's hearing is Ocarine's. That would be crazy because in Steins Gate, you know, since he was able to, you know, use his Regensteiner, he thought of himself like, he's like, am I a god? Mm-hmm. Now, in the OP, they say there is no god. So what are we going to do with that? Or is the voice of God Amadeus? What is she hearing? Because she starts walking away. Where does she go to? We don't know. Where does she walk away to? But poor Mayuri and Mayuri's stopwatch. Again, these parties in this series, the stopwatch, her having it, nope. Don't make this crazy show. Don't do anything with that stopwatch, whatever you do. And Suzuha's like, I'm going to go look for her. And of course it starts raining because why wouldn't it? The AD was so well timed with all of this scene. Like the rain coming down, it says embrace my tears. The rain is so perfect in this ED. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, and then saying, let me guide you down into my soul, and it's the building where Kagari's been trapped in that they're investigating. Yeah, so of course there's no signal. And so, yeah, what is that sound? And she's like, I flipped a switch, and I found a secret passageway. Yep, and then here's all the rooms. So is this a facility that... But I mean, in the future, she's in a different facility. But this is just where she was the last 12 years. Okay. And then the moment that he looks in there, like the moment he looks in there, that freaking shot is nightmare inducing. That shot is nightmare inducing. That is terrifying. I got chills just now again. And then the moment that the ED kicks in and it says, "Wake up now, it's time to lead new souls." That is so freaking terrifying. Oh my God. And it just says, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, I miss you. Orbit of photon and universe, I miss you, mommy." Oh, I got chills. Oh man, that she's been there the whole damn time. Oh. And there's like the shot of Mayuri on the ground there with her hat. Mommy, 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 mommy is the new I failed. It's the new I failed over and over again. I got more chills from this though, because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting them to find the room where she has been hidden. That is so crazy. God, that's freaky. I'm just part of its plan. Yeah, and Moika's like, "I don't like any of this. This is not good." The fact that they kept the writing in the room, they didn't clean it off. Meaning that she's been there until recently. And yeah, and then the idea of like the pieces of it missing. Nope. Who would have done this? Who would have done this indeed? Indeed, and for what purpose? That's a great question. That's a great question. Oh, God. So then Suza finds the snack on the ground, and when they get back, that's when his phone starts working, and Mayuri is like, "Ocarine, Kaguri-chan is missing." And then she finds the phone on the ground. Finds the phone on the ground. Look at that! Look! There's like a little teardrop coming out of the little Oopa's eye. That's not fair. That's so mean. Damn it. Damn it. Look at that. I hate that. So, if you're wanting to know the difference between the English dub, I haven't watched the English dub yet, but I went ahead and looked at it to see what it was. They include a preview and an end credits scene, like the actual credits at the end. So I didn't really look at the preview though, because I was like, I want to figure it out when we get to it. But, oh my God. Yeah, we're back. We're back, Steins Gate. We're freaking back. Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So yeah, her being Amadeus system sample, I'm not surprised with her looking exactly like Kurisu, but oh buddy, I am worried. I am worried, y'all. But we'll just have to see, right? So I'm glad we're back though. I'm glad we're getting back to some Steins Gate goodness. Thank you. So I'm curious to know your thoughts about this episode. What did you think about the ED scene? The whole ED scene is one of my favorite parts of this whole series so far. The suspense, the reveal. Oh, I just chill-inducing. Full body chills. Full body chills. Ooh! So good. So good. That's what I love about Steins Gate. Those are the twists I want. So, in any case, I'm excited. I hope you all are as well. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Please give a like to this video and subscribe so that every other week you can see me investigate the rest of Steins Gate 0. And I will see you all then. Bye-bye.